Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be giving you romance book recommendations that fit into the one of them is famous trope. This is probably one of my all-time favorite tropes, and I find it's really hard to find books in this trope for some reason. And so let's just get right into the books. So for this specific video, I am really only focusing on books that deal with like musicians or actors, not like sports stars, because I feel like that just falls into the sports romance category. So this is going to be solely like musicians, actors, that type of thing. And so the first book I have is Breathe by Abbi Glines. This is the first book in the Seabreeze series. This series is probably not for everyone, but it is just such a comfort series for me. I absolutely love these books. I reread them all the time. And this is the first book, which follows Sadie and Jax. And Sadie's mom is basically kind of unresponsible, doesn't really care what she's doing. And she has this job working in this mansion in Seabreeze. And she's like basically like a housekeeper, I guess. Like she cleans the rooms and things. She ends up getting pregnant and ends up having some like issues with the pregnancy where she can't walk for a couple days, or she's not feeling good or whatever. And so Sadie goes and says, I'll take your place at work because we need the money. And so she goes to this mansion and she's just like, hey, I'm here to take my mom's place. Like, I need to make this money because we need the money, basically. And she doesn't know that this mansion actually belongs to Jack Stone, who is like, I guess the equivalent of like Justin Bieber, basically, in this book. Like, he's like the it guy of Hollywood music, basically. And he's like this super crazy teen rock star kind of thing. And so she finally proves to this like house, there's like a head of housekeeping, I guess, that she sort of has to prove herself to. And she finally does, and she ends up getting to stay and work, and she's like, I don't care about Jax, like I just need this job, I need the money. And she ends up working there, but she obviously catches his eye. Like I said, these books probably aren't for everyone, but I just feel like they're such easy, quick, comfort reads. You can get through this like easily, probably in a sitting. I mean, it is like a decently thick book, but the font is so spaced out, and it's only like 329 pages. And like I said, it's just a really like fast-paced, quick read, really cute. I really love this one. And it's the first, like I said, in the series. I love the whole series, but this one in particular has the one of them is famous trope because obviously he's like this famous rock star. So I really, really love this one for this trope. Next is Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. This one I'm not sure, like, it sort of fits this trope, but not really, but kind of, because the guy in this is an actor, but he's sort of like a has-been. Like, he was like a Disney Channel star as a kid, basically, and they're older when this takes place. This is actually sort of, it's not really a second chance, but like, it's like their second meeting, I guess. So she ends up meeting this guy in college, I'm pretty sure, and she basically fangirls all over him, and they kind of become friends, but she ends up being like, okay, he betrayed me, and I'm never talking to him again, and she doesn't talk to him for a long time, and now, I believe she's a lawyer in this book, and now he has shown up, and he is the guardian to his 13-year-old sister, and has no idea how to do that. And so I think she's the lawyer that he goes to sort of help with the legality of that. And so now he obviously needs her, and she's still kind of mad at him for what he did in the past. But this one's just really cute. I love all of Helena Hunting's books. Like I said, he was like a Disney Channel actor, so he's not actively acting in this, but he does still, like, there's sort of the vibe of like people do know who he is. He does get asked for autographs type thing, and she's still kind of fangirling over him because she knows who he was. And this one, like I said, just really cute. A cute little rom-com with this trope. Really love that one. Next is When It's Real by Erin Watt. Erin Watt, if you didn't know, is actually Elle Kennedy and Jen Frederick. So this is a YA book. This is probably one of my favorite YA books of all time. I really love this one. It follows a, again, Justin Bieber adjacent sort of kind of dude. And his name is Oakley. He is a pop star, and he's got like this terrible public image, and they're like, okay, we need to clean up your image. And so they're like, we're going to find you a fake girlfriend to help you do that, obviously, because that's how like every one of these books starts. And so this girl is the younger sister, I believe, of one of the women that work in his manager's office. So his manager is like, I'm going to find you someone to fake date, blah, blah, blah. And he walks into this woman's office, and he's like, who's that girl that you have a picture of here? Like, she'd be perfect. And she's like, oh, that's my sister. And they bring her in, and they're like, okay, do you want to do this? And she's like, well, I don't really know, but like I need the money, so I guess I could do it. And they're, if I remember right in this one, they actually, yeah, they are getting them to like orchestrate Twitter exchanges, so they're telling them what to say to each other on Twitter, and so she's kind of falling for him, but she's pretty much talking to his publicist, and there's like, you know, the sort of aspect of like, is it real or like is it not real, is he faking, is he even the one I'm talking to, sort of thing. And I just thought this was really, really cute. Like I said, one of my favorite YA books, and I feel like not a lot of people know about this one, even though it's written by like Elle Kennedy, so I feel like it should be more common, but I guess because her name's not on it, maybe that's why people don't talk about this one as much. But this one is really, really good. Next is Make It Sweet by Kristen Callihan. This one follows a girl who is a famous actress who is basically on the book equivalent of Game of Thrones when she gets kicked off the show. Basically, they murder her on the show, she's done, and the world doesn't know it yet. Like, she knows that she's filmed her final episode where they kill her off, but the world hasn't seen it yet, so everyone's still, you know, fangirling over her and being like, oh my gosh, like, I love your character and blah blah blah, and they don't know that her character's about to die. And she knows, so she goes off to this, like, tiny, like, lodge thing in the woods type thing, and she's like, I'm just gonna stay here until the episode airs and everything blows over and I can like move on with my life. And she goes there, and there ends up being, it's run by like an older woman who owns the land, I guess, and her, I think it's her grandson is there, and he is a hockey player who has had like one too many concussions basically, and so he's there kind of moping around too, and they end up meeting and talking to each other and getting to know each other, and romance sort of stems from there. This one I thought was a really interesting aspect because you never really think about like when actors get killed off shows, I guess, like what that's like to have to not say anything for a while. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting aspect to this one, and I liked that there was also hockey players. It's like kind of a sports romance too, but like not really. And I just thought it was like a unique mix with that. Next is No Tomorrow by Carian. This one in particular is not one of my all-time favorites. I didn't really love this one, but I know a lot of people do, and it does fit this trope, so I did want to include it if this sounds like it might be something for you. This one follows a girl who ends up, her first love is this guy who is homeless living in the park across from her work. And she goes to meet him all the time at lunch and is just getting to know him, and they end up getting together. And then he just sort of disappears out of her life, and she sort of moves on, and he moves on, and he ends up becoming this super, super famous musician. And so she's always kind of been aware of him, like she knows where he is and what he's doing because it's all over the place. And one day they sort of end up reconnecting. And like I said, a lot of people like this one. I didn't love it, but it does have like the one of them is famous. What I didn't like about this was I found that the guy kind of treated her like crap throughout the entire book. So it wasn't my all-time favorite thing. Like I didn't really feel the love between them. But if you think you might be okay with that, this might be one that you want to try out. Like I said, it wasn't for me, but I know a lot of people do really, really love this one. Next is The Royals Next Door by Karina Halle. I feel like this one is a little bit different because it's not a musician or an actress. This one follows a teacher who is living in a house when the prince and princess basically move into the house next to her. It's supposed to be sort of like Harry and Meghan, I guess, these characters that they're based off of. And their bodyguard also obviously comes with them. And this bodyguard is sort of thinks that this neighbor teacher is super sketchy and is like always watching her and is, you know, always around because he's doing security for this couple, and they sort of become friends, this like teacher and the royals. So he's around this girl a lot and they sort of have a relationship. But this one I feel like definitely had like the one that's famous because everyone sort of knew about this bodyguard and they sort of became famous because they were together. Like, there's definitely, like, that vibe in this book, even though they're not really famous for doing anything specific. But I feel like this one definitely sort of fit into this trope because it does have the same sort of atmosphere of a One of Them is Famous book, if that makes sense. Next is A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This one is obviously perfect for the holiday season. This one is... basically, they're both famous in this one, so it's sort of a little bit different. But this one follows a girl who is a plus-size porn star, basically. And she has a closed doors account, which is like OnlyFans in the book, basically. And she gets cast in a Hope Channel Christmas movie. So the equivalent of a Hallmark Channel movie, super wholesome, super clean, super like, you know, family oriented and whatever. And so she gets cast and she's like, I have to keep my sort of alter ego under wraps here. Like, no one can know that this is what I do because they'll kick me out of the movie. And the guy that is cast as her co-star is this like ex-boy band member that she used to fangirl over as a kid and is kind of obsessed with, and he has kind of lost his money. He kind of got screwed over by his manager, so he needs money to help his mom and sister. So his agent is like, go to this movie, do this movie, don't sleep with anyone, just go and get this movie done, and like then you can be taken seriously in this industry. But she knows who he is from the band, and he's actually subscribed to her closed doors account, so he knows who she is, and they're kind of fanning over each other, which I thought was interesting. I've never read a book like that where they were both kind of obsessed with each other before they even met. And so I thought that was kind of a cool aspect to this one. Like I said, it does revolve around them filming a Hope Channel Christmas movie, so definitely the perfect like holiday read if you're looking for something in this trope that could also be a holiday read. Next is The Bodyguard by Katherine Center. This one follows a guy who is a famous actor and is kind of got a stalker, and he is back in this town that he grew up in because his mom has just found out that she has cancer. And so he's back for her treatment, and he's like, I just want to lay low and, you know, be there for my mom, like that's all I'm here for. And his team is insistent that he has security because this stalker is like around. And so he's like, okay, fine, like whatever. And the security he ends up with is a girl who he doesn't expect, obviously. He thinks it's going to be like some big dude that's going to follow him around. But it's actually a woman who is his bodyguard. And she shows up and he's like, look, my mom can't know about this stalker because I don't want to stress her out with all her cancer and everything she's dealing with. So, you know, we need to say that we're dating. And so there's fake dating in this one because they're pretending they're a couple while he's around his family. She ends up having to spend like 2 whole weeks at his family farm with him. And this one was just really cute. The ending of this was a little bit cheesy, kind of ruined it a little bit for me, but the whole book itself was really good and definitely falls into this trope. Lastly is one of my new all-time faves, and that is To Love Jason Thorn by Maise. This one I honestly fully anticipated to be like an overhyped book talk book, because I have just had the worst luck with books that are hyped on TikTok to the point that I actually avoid them now because I just don't like them. But this one, I knew I wanted to film this video, and I knew this one had this trope, so I was like, I'll give it a shot and see if it's, you know, at least good enough to recommend in this video. I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 5 stars, 100% would recommend. This is a brother's best friend book too. It follows a girl who has this massive crush on Jason, obviously, as a kid, and he's her brother's best friend, so he's around quite a bit, but then something happens in his family and he ends up leaving. And they don't see each other for years, and she's now older, he's older. He is now a successful actor, and she is an author who has just published her first book, and it is being picked up and turned into a movie. So when she goes in for this meeting about the movie, she finds out that they're considering Jason to play the lead guy in her movie. And she's kind of shocked. She didn't really think she'd ever see him again. She kind of felt like he betrayed her before he left. So she's kind of mad at him, doesn't want to see him, is like embarrassed that he knows that she used to have a crush on him. And so she's kind of avoiding him, and he's like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, like, you're back. And this one was just so cute. I really, really love this one. It has a lot of elements that are definitely common in other books, like the brother's best friend, the one of them is famous, the childhood idol type thing. But I think the combination is very unique. Like, I've never read a book with a famous person where the person knew them before they were famous, and then they came back into their lives once they were famous. I thought that was sort of an interesting aspect, especially in this one because they're both famous, because she's famous now for writing this book that's being turned into a movie, and he's obviously famous for acting. So they're kind of both famous in this one. Like I said, I really, really love this one. I think the second book is To Hate Adam Connor, I think falls in this trope as well. At the time I'm filming this, I have not read that yet, so I can't comment. I will have read it by the time this video goes up though, for sure, because I'm really excited to get to that one. And so maybe check that one out too if you're looking for another thing that falls into this trope. But those are all the books I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. I do new book videos every single week, and I will see you next time.